Check. 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 Okay. Okay, before I start, I'm looking at the YouTube chat. Like, can you see the arrow here? On my screen, it's right here. But I'm gonna try to figure out how to get it on your screen. Just give me a second here. Display capture. Okay, display capture cursor for display method. Desktop duplication? Nope. Nope. Okay. None of that worked. I guess I'll look into it. I don't want to take time out of the stream and do that, you know? Sorry, guys. The thing is that I I don't want you to see other people's phone numbers on my Google Voice. So let's see here. Okay. We ended off with the TikTok army last night. So here we are tonight. I performed to doctors. It ended with a diagnosis I'd never heard of. What do you mean? The weather was, as is typical in Southern California, temperate, but the hall was warm, filled with hundreds of people. It was 2009. I was on stage, my guitar in my hands, and a mic before me. Herbie Hancock at the piano to my left. The real Herbie Hancock? I paused only a moment to assess the crowd before belting out Where is Bobby Gentry, a new single from my California Years album that had been released just 7 months earlier. This wasn't a normal gig for either of us. Herbie and I had been asked to perform as a sort of palate cleanser between heady discussions on ways genetic medicine could transform care, new approaches to tackle cancer, and how prosthetics could change a person's life at the newly relaunched TEDMed conference. We were surrounded by doctors, researchers, scientists, and healthcare industry leaders rather than our typical fans who could recite the lyrics with us. Regardless, the performance changed my life. Oh. Jill Sobule. Jill Sobule. Almost as soon as my performance ended, I was approached by two different people from the crowd. Both had the same question. Had I ever been diagnosed with essential tremor? I had never heard of essential tremor at that point, but the question brought a lot of things into focus for me. Since my 20s, I had a tremor in my hands that I thought was caused by excess energy. It's a mineral deficiency. It didn't bother me most of the time, but every once in a while it would interfere with work. Mostly magnesium, but it could also be what they would call rare. What is it? Rare. What are the rare minerals? Rhodium.
According to Wikipedia, a rare earth mineral contains one or more rare earth elements as major metal constituents.
What are the rare minerals like rhodium, ruthenium, that are used in conduction of energy in the human body. There's a name for these. What do you call them? They're in Celtic salt. Trace. Trace minerals is one. This sounds interesting, though. Critical minerals for zero emission transportation. Fundamentals of critical minerals and their paramount role in the successful deployment of clean energy technologies in future transportation are assessed along with current global efforts to satisfy the needs of automotive supply chains and environmental concerns, and implementation of large quantities of minerals into the manufacturing of strategic components of zero emission vehicles will bring new challenges to energy security. As a result, a reduced dependency on conventional hydrocarbon resources may lead to new and unexpected interdependencies, including dependencies on raw materials. It's concluded that to minimize the impact of a metal-intensive transition to clean transportation, in addition to overcoming challenges with minerals mining and processing, further progress in understanding the properties of critical materials will be required to better correlate them with intended applications, to identify potential substitutions, and to optimize their use through the sustainable exploration of their resources and circular economy. Wow. I read that whole thing and I have no idea what it meant. No, so basically they they have minerals that are going to conduct energy like in a computer, in a computer there's silicon, etc. She also could have a VAX injury. Didn't bother me most of the time, but every once in a while it would interfere with work, like when I waited tables and would spill drinks, or the time I managed to slash open an artery in my wrist while serving bread at a fancy restaurant. Holy. When playing guitar, my first love, a little tremor can be normal, so it rarely occurred to me that it could be more. Occasionally I would be reminded during or after a performance that my tremble was noticeable to others, like when I played one of the evening talk shows and they showed a close up of my hands, or when people would ask me if I was nervous after a performance. One particularly memorable evening, a woman approached me after a show telling me she was a social worker and wanted to talk to me about my drinking because she believed my shaking hands were the result of detoxing from alcohol. Wow. Over the years, I would talk to my doctors about the tremors, but no one seemed to know what it was. After my performance at TEDMed, I made an appointment with a neurologist who confirmed that the people who thought I had an essential tremor were correct. It was the cause of the tremble in my hands. Up to that point, I'd never heard of the condition, so I had to learn more. In my digging, I found that it was likely the cause of my poor handwriting, and most cases were hereditary, even though no one in my family seems to suffer. For several years, my neurologist prescribed medicine to help me manage my tremors, and it worked incredibly well. But as I learned, while essential tremor won't kill you, it's a progressive illness that will slowly get worse. During COVID, I started performing online instead of in theaters. I realized that my hands were shaking even more than I realized. I couldn't take any more medications because the the drug I was using lowers blood pressure, which for me was naturally low. If I didn't find a new way of dealing with them, I would eventually no longer be able to play guitar, something I've been doing since I was 7 or 8. Mm. So I returned to my neurologist and started asking about my options. Hey Rick, greetings to you, sir. Including deep brain stimulation. I had heard about it in my research and wondered if I was a candidate for it. Oh no. Deep brain stimulation. Dude, they're going to stick rods in her head and shock her brain? I knew it required brain surgery, but it seemed like it could be a good solution. DBS works by sending electrical impulses to a specific part of the brain and adjusts abnormal brain signals that were causing my tremor. My neurologist felt like it was a good option, cha-ching, for me, because if something went wrong, for any reason, he could always remove the device without lasting issues. Oh, wow. They put a device in there? Yo. After several months of discussions, we decided to move ahead with the procedure with a device called the Infinity DBS system from Abbott. It was a recharge-free device which would ensure didn't lose power in the middle of a performance, and it came with an app called Neurosphere Virtual Clinic that would allow my doctor to make remote adjustments to it even if I was in the middle of Madagascar. Wow. Let's just take a moment to realize that she has a device in her brain that's controlled by an app, and her doctor can control it. Yo, that's wild. Rick, it's funny that you say that. I actually broke my fast. What happened was I've been struggling, as you may know, emotionally, physically, injury. Um, and fasting. It's tough, not easy. There was a few times when, it was like I was on the edge, and if things went a different way, I could have broke my fast right then and there. Today it was tough, but I was going strong. I was doing it. Then Sir Doyle called me to visit him, and so I was like, you know what? Let me make him some food. I'm not gonna make that mistake again, by the way. And I made him some food. I made some food for Ahmad because he has a hernia in his right hip. So I told him, he was asking me what to do, stretching, whatever. I said, to be honest, if you want that thing to heal, you have to empty out as much as possible because um, having material in there is going to be opening that hernia up, and you want it to seal up, so you got to, empty out and let the intestine heal. So I recommended that he have castor oil internally and externally. So he had a teaspoon or a tablespoon of castor oil last night, and he also did a 20-minute massage with the castor oil as per my instructions. He woke up today. He said he was in pain, but then he went to the bathroom and he felt better. So that was evidence that what I was saying was accurate. So I said, if you want to continue, there's other things you could do. I made him a mason jar full of honey and lemon and water for fizzies. A little bit of sun-dried salt in there, sun-dried sea salt in the mason jar. It was a bunch of lemon juice, water, and honey, and sun-dried sea salt in a mason jar full. So I gave him that. I told him, gave him a fizzy, and then gave it to him to demonstrate how to do it. And I said, also, um, I'm trying to make a commercial food service, so it would help me if you ate some of my food. So I'd like to make you some. Let's figure out some food that you like. So I made enough food for Sir Doyle. If you check my last live feed, you could see what I made. Basically, it was millet. Yeah, kind of dino juice, pretty much. Yeah, thank you, Rick. It's kind of dino juice. I didn't have the stevia in there because Ahmad said he doesn't like stevia. So I was actually gonna order stevia, but you got to give the customer what they want. So we used honey. The stevia makes it green. That's why I was calling it dino juice. But yeah, for sure, for sure. Anyway, I made millet with a few other ingredients. It was more salt, vinegar, a little bit of vinegar, some very small amount of vinegar, a little turmeric, a little chili powder, onion, tomato, onion, cilantro, and then on top I put tomato and avocado. So I gave Sir Doyle 4 cups and 6 cups, and I gave Ahmad 2 cups. And Ahmad said he liked it, and Sir Doyle, I don't know, we'll find out about that. I'm sure he would have liked it. But anyway, there was leftovers, and I just couldn't resist. So I had that. On the way to see Sir Doyle, I got a uh, a pack of figs. It comes in a wheel like this. There's probably about, I don't know, 30 figs in there. Um, Lundos, go back one video on my channel. It's the live video. Doyle's doing a 4-day trial at his new home, and it's possible that he can stay, but most likely he's going to go back to the hospital for 12 days? I think 12 days. And then he'll be out for good January 2nd. So I went with him today to the thrift store, and I bought him some clothes. If you want to chip in, we'll get some more clothes. I got him a pair of shoes, 2 pairs of pants, 2 shirts, and a jacket, and socks. They didn't have underwear. Didn't have underwear at the thrift store, which is probably a good thing. Used underwear. Now they did have underwear, but they only had really big underwear, like triple XL. So I had the figs, and then I had dried mango at my parents' house, and walnuts. And my stomach started to hurt, and I started to feel bad. I'm like, damn, I wish I didn't eat all that. So I stopped eating a couple hours ago again, and now I'm doing the omega tea. So I had omega tea before I ate, and I'm having omega tea now after. So hopefully this will get me back into fasting. I want to see if I could do actually fasting, without honey, because my jowls aren't going down as much as they should, and I think that's because honey does stimulate digestion. So there's still, like, those muscles down there are still working and not resting. Oh man. What about you? Did you get your tracks yet? I got coins ingredients. I'm gonna make these white chocolate dino coins. It's gonna be white chocolate, coconut sugar, and then when I say white chocolate, it's basically the pure fat of the cocoa. So they call it cocoa butter. White chocolate, coconut sugar. Those are the 2 main ingredients. So you get your chocolate and you get your sweetness. I also got lion's mane powder. So it's going to be a medical chocolate. I'm getting it for my dad, for his brain. He's 80. He's got talks to himself. He doesn't talk to himself. He has conversations with people that um that, like, not that they're not there, but like they are not there, but they're not there at the time. Like he it's like almost like it sounds like he's practicing conversations. Did I send them to Silmar address? Let me see. I sent them to whatever address was on the donation that you gave me. So I'll check. Is that the wrong address, bro? I'm really sorry. That would suck if it gets sent back or whatever. Or if you don't get it. That sounds familiar, to be honest. Freak. I'm trying to log into my PayPal. Give me a second. Here we go. You see, Lundos, you were wrong about Sir Doyle. You said he was never getting out. I wonder what else you were wrong about. Um, yeah, Silmar. I sent them to Silmar, bro. That's what that's what the address was on your donation. You get them tomorrow? Okay, cool. How does he look? Go look at the video for yourself, man. What the fuck? You want me to wipe your ass for you too, Londos? He looks the same. He actually looks the same. I was kind of worried. Just his hair's a little shorter. Just a little bit. So, anyway, I guess I'll continue, right? I had to be awake during the surgery, so I played guitar and sang to the doctor and nurses throughout the procedure. Oh my god. Let me see something here. Yeah, he's not out yet. He's in it. He's doing a test run. And he said his roommate smokes crack. Could you imagine he going into a group home? The guy smokes weed with crack on it. Okay, you guys ready to see this? Brain surgery?
Most of deep brain stimulation surgery is performed with the patient awake.
Wow, he's just kind of resting it out. Well, there are, but that's what the point of that first MR was.
Alright. Um. Are they opening? What is going on here? I don't get it. Oh. So, they don't open the head. They don't have to open the head anymore. I guess they just put a hole. Oh, God. I don't even. Why am I looking at this? Oof. Oh, gosh. Oh, wow. Oof. They shaved the head. Oh, there it is. Oh, peel the skin back. Oh, my. Oof. Imagine. Oh, gosh. Yo. Wonder if you have a headache after. You must. Oof. Oh, my. You know what's amazing to me? Of all the surgical procedures, there had to be a trial and error. How many millions and billions of people there are, right? Um, and then who was the trials? And then who were the people that they figured out, like, oh, no, we shouldn't do it that way, because this is what happens, you know? Like, the error. Kind of gruesome. Sorry. Um, the device worked immediately, steadying my hands for the first time in decades. Now I no longer worry about how I'm going to hold a glass of water or the sacrifices I might have to make to continue performing. And after performances, people now come up to me and say, I didn't see your hands shake at all. I don't shy away from telling my story of dealing with essential tremor because I know it helps other people. Since speaking out about it, people have said they think they might have it too. and have gone to medical professionals seeking help. I've also heard from countless others about their experience with DBS and how it changed their lives for the better. I'm incredibly proud of the community that has been built out of this little known condition. Well, alright, so here's my take. The old me probably would poop on the surgery because I do natural healing. And I generally don't think surgery is a good idea because it's not natural. So you're cutting, you're cutting the skin, you're drilling a hole in the bone. Now that I'm in the middle of a midlife crisis, or now that I've had the realization that I ain't shit. I thought I had like these really crazy thoughts about being a world leader. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to change the world with my league. I'm going to fix everything. I'm going to fix the head contact. People are going to, buy into Master Luki brand and all the ingredients that people consume in Master Luki by eating Master Luki brand recipes. All those ingredients are beneficial for the environment, so I'm gonna basically save the world with my brand. Turns out I don't have what it takes. I failed, and the last 15 years wasted my kids' childhood on this dumb plan that I had. And shit, maybe if I was a better man, I could have made it happen. Maybe if I had like a hustler's heart. But I guess I'm lazy. I couldn't bring myself to do what it would have taken. I guess we'll never know. Do I still believe everything happens for a reason? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm losing faith. So, that being said, what I'm trying to say is, I'm coming at this on my hands and knees now as a beggar, not thinking that I know everything. And so if this person has had benefit from this surgery, how can I shit on that? I can't. I can't say that this surgery wasn't a good thing for her because it was. She doesn't have the shakes anymore, and she's got a happy life, What a nice life, playing guitar. Oh gosh. I wish I had the discipline, the motivation, the energy to play. So much time wasted. I'm so tired. I was thinking before, like, what am I gonna do? Like, if I'm tired all the time, but I don't sleep because, um, because I'm up. I should actually go to bed at 9:30. They say you're supposed to be in bed 9:30 and then asleep by 10. So 10, when I should be sleeping, I'm up on the computer. Why though? Why am I here to get shit on by Londos? You know, Rick, you can message me anytime. We don't have to talk on this chat box. I'm not gonna make any money on YouTube. I probably won't even get monetized because I talk about um, alternative medicine and self-harm. I've had several channel strikes. I just got a bunch of videos deleted. So I don't know. So that's one way to look at it. The two ways was, I'm against surgery, unnecessary. If if she has a condition that's from demineralization, and she could fix this condition with supplements, she could fix this condition with magnesium and living mineral supplements, and probably medical mushrooms like the lion's mane type stuff, reishi or whatever the other stuff. Um, how I would address this. So that's one way to look at it. Is it was helpful for her. And I don't know how long ago she got the surgery, but we'll have to see like what's the long-term effects, because she's got a device in her head and it attaches to an app. It's controlled by somebody else. You got to replace your phone after a while. What about this thing in her head? Is she gonna have to go back in every like 5 years or whatever? Is she gonna have to go back in every 5 years? The natural way is the better way, right? Job was right. I shouldn't have did fighting. I shouldn't promote fighting. My body is breaking down. My knee now is barely hanging on. I heard it 3 times in the past month. Once at Lurie Fit University when I went over to promote my league. I had a 300-pound kid do a takedown on me, and my foot got stuck in the mat and twisted, and my knee tore. Uh, that's an old injury, a retore, I guess. Then on Sunday, I went to Lockdown BJJ, and I trained with a black belt who was 200 and something pounds, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it hurting, like it was a sharp pain. And then yesterday, I was training with another black belt, Ace, and he got me in the inverted heel hook position. So when I'm walking, the knee is like loose. It's like the bottom half of my leg is like it's very like hanging. It's like hanging on. And if I turn, it pops out of socket. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to cancel Master Luki brand, guys. I just want to cancel everything, you know? It's probably my mental health. I don't know if this is gonna be something I can bounce back from. I don't even know why. I thought to myself, why don't I just not go on tonight? I'll just go to bed. But if I go to bed, I'm gonna lay there and I'm gonna start thinking of everything. I'm gonna start thinking of my sons. So. At one point, I thought my diagnosis might take away my ability to play guitar and perform. It was a future I didn't want to think about because my songs are such a big part of my life and speak to issues our society continues to collectively struggle with. I know what that's like. You didn't want to think about a future because it was such a big part of your life. It's like me in martial arts. I couldn't see a future without it, and now I can't see a future with it. Take some time off. You helped many on your path. You'll feel better if you eat something. I did eat something. You don't get it. My bad, Rick. Now because of DBS therapy, I've been able to stage my off-Broadway musical, F 7th Grade, based on my songs and medical experiences, and continue to perform live. And to think, none of this would have been possible had I not been asked to play a musical interlude during a conference that brought together the brightest minds in healthcare. Oh, she wrote I Kissed a Girl, huh? Hmm. Alright. One down. Weight loss drugs are increasingly paired with bariatric surgery. The new, highly effective class of anti obesity drugs has often been talked about as an alternative to bariatric surgery, but medications like Wegovy are increasingly being paired with the procedure. Why it matters. While surgeons say the drugs can especially help people with severe obesity maintain weight loss after surgery, the combination presents a pricey scenario for insurers already grappling with the cost of the drugs alone. The number of bariatric surgeries performed in the U.S. increased slightly between 2021 and 2022 after the drugs known as GLP-1 agonists exploded on the market, according to medical claims data from Fair Health. The number of bariatric surgery patients who were subsequently prescribed a GLP-1 more than tripled between 2021 and 2023, according to claims data from health tech company Purple Lab. Roughly 16% of bariatric surgery patients were later prescribed a GLP in 2023, according to the database, which includes more than 300 million claims from Medicare, Medicaid, and commercial payers over the past 5 years. While the claims data doesn't show exactly why the surgery patients were later prescribed those drugs, it tracks with anecdotal reports from surgeons and healthcare experts. see something here. Even companies like Johnson & Johnson, which make devices used, said they view the drugs as complementary to surgery. Okay. Well, I mean, this is the model, right? This is the industry, drugs and surgery. So on one hand, we have exercise and nutrition, and on the other hand, you have drugs and surgery. So who's right? What's the saying? Quick fix? The drugs and surgery is the quick fix, right? The the drugs are seen as revolutionary, helping patients lose anywhere between 15% to 20% of their weight. The evidence so far suggests taking them suggests patients taking them need to stay on them long term to maintain weight loss. Oh boy. But many aren't, either due to side effects, costs, or ongoing shortages of the highly sought after drugs. This is like when you look at the ingredients list of a product and they put the most the highest percentage ingredient first. So say you buy apple juice and the first ingredient is apple juice concentrate and the second ingredient is water. So that means it's mostly apple juice concentrate, and the second ingredient, it's not as much. But say you buy the apple juice and the first ingredient's water, and the second ingredient's apple juice concentrate. So you know it's more water than apple juice. So here we have the evidence so far suggests that the patients are not staying on them long term because of the side effects. That's the first one listed. Due to side effects. There's no side effects of exercise and nutrition. Patients may shed more pounds with bariatric surgery, up to 35% of their weight, and it's generally a one-time procedure. The surgery isn't for everyone, though. It's highly invasive with a higher risk of complications. Yikes. Patients need to understand that these drugs only take off a certain amount of weight, and if they really have a significant amount of weight to lose, they should consider surgery. Oh boy. Oh, I wonder why she's saying that. Marina, president of the American Society for Surgery. I wonder if she's a little biased. I wonder if Marina's a little biased. She's recommending surgery and she sells surgery. Marina. Marina. Okay. And sometimes patients need both. Between 20 and 35% of patients who receive the most common surgery gain back most of the weight. Oh boy. Or fail to hit their target. 20 and 35%. So 1 in 5 or 1 in 3. That's, oof. How'd you like those odds? I think if I'm going to get a surgery, I'm going to need at least a 90% chance of success. 80% is even like, oh man, you think I have a 1 in 5 chance of, that's like Russian roulette. 80% success rate? That's Russian roulette. That's worse than Russian roulette. Russian roulette is, let's see, 100 divided by 6. It's less than 20, so it's more than 10, but it's probably like 15, 16, 17. It might be 17%. So 83% is Russian roulette. Let's make sure I got this right here. My math that was just an estimation, but let's see, 100 divided by 6, 16.67%. Yeah. Sheesh. Don't play Russian roulette with your life. Like Dr. Job was saying, you can't take it back. These things, once you go down that road, there ain't no way to come back. Oh boy. This is why my channel is not going to get monetized. I'm against most of the modern medical treatments, drugs and surgery. But it makes more money. Makes more money by selling drugs and giving people surgeries. And then apparently staying on the drugs and creating, lifelong drug users. Instead of healing, which when you do healing, the purpose of healing is to to be good, to be healed. If you get healed, it's like you're done. You don't have to heal. What's heal mean? Of a person or treatment cause a wound or injury a person to become sound or healthy again. Okay, so it's not like managing symptoms. To become sound or healthy again. You're good now. That's it. No more treatment necessary. Okay. Ooh. Feeling that my knee. Holy. I'm gonna look up a serious knee brace. The drugs will revolutionize for sure the landscape of bariatric treatment. Enrique Eli, a bariatric surgeon at the Mayo Clinic, told Axios, "As a surgeon, I welcome these drugs because I think that will make bariatric surgery even more effective." Sheesh. What's the success rate on exercise and fitness? Asking for a friend. I wonder if we could look that up. What is the success rate for an exercise and fitness program for losing weight? Oh, that's 10%. Ew. 20% of overweight individuals are successful. Man, I gotta do something about that. I was thinking today, like what you were saying, Rick, and Dr. Job was saying, put it all in focus on one page, web page. I could do hopefully like I'm trying to do with Ahmad, help people get healthy as a business, making food, helping them do cleansing, fitness, helping them lose weight, flush, all that. I've been wanting to turn this building into a health center. So now that I'm giving up on my League of Champions, I'll have more energy and time to focus on that. Maybe I could still do that. I mean, there's got to be a reason why, the building's still empty. Boom, what? You think that's a good idea, Londos? Getting to help people, what are you saying boom to? What I just said? Focus on helping people lose weight? I can't see what you're commenting on. Like, if you don't give a full sentence. You said you'll feel better if you eat something. Okay, I can understand what that means. You said boom, meaning I'm guessing you agree with what I said. Like, boom, yeah, exactly. But what are you talking about? Are you saying boom because I just said I'm giving up on the League of Champions and I'm going to focus on um, turning this building into a health center by making food and advertising weight loss and fitness? Is that what boom is? Your stats. Oh, my stats. So only 20% of people are successful, yeah. Um, yeah. It's not a high success rate. um, what's the success rate for exercise improvement with a trainer? Are you more like what's the success rate? Depends on the trainer. Failure rate of trainers. Most of them don't make it past the 2 year mark. Oh, wow. Wow. Thanks. They try to sell personal training sessions or exercise classes rather than selling the result. Okay. Alright. I get distracted a lot, don't I? Well, most employers cover a surgery, and many are trying to promote that benefit to their workers. Far fewer cover the drugs for weight loss. Surgery costs between 17 and 26,000, while the drugs cost that much per year. Even after accounting for discounts, the costs add up. Knowing that the drugs are intended to be taken forever, it's a lot more expensive. The idea that some patients might need both, that sounds rough. Coupling the drugs with the surgery is the latest example of how the drugs are being seen as a tool to be used with rather than instead of other forms of care. Um, Abbott Laboratories is making the case that patients using its continuous glucose monitoring system remain on the drugs longer than those receiving the medication alone. I don't know what that sentence means. Companies like Weight Watchers have embraced the drugs as part of their weight loss programs. Wow. That's pretty fucking terrible. Weight Watchers. Oh my god. My mom's in Weight Watchers. Man. The selling out continues. I guess when you're a company, the only thing that matters is the bottom line. I wonder if they're sponsored at all. If we go to the Weight Watchers website and we see, like, you know, corporate sponsorship by the company that makes the drugs. Oh man. Trump embraces conspiratorial language to attack Big Pharma. In his first campaign for prez, Trump tapped into bipartisan anger over high drug prices to bash pharmaceutical companies. In his latest run, he's echoing the extreme elements of his party to suggest the industry's products may be hurting Americans, particularly children. Why it matters. Trump's airing of unfounded, innuendo-filled claims about the pharmaceutical industry could undermine public health. Oh boy, Axios. Wow, we got 2 articles promoting drugs and surgery now from Axios. I wonder who their sponsor is. It reflects how deeply mistrust of health institutions and anti-science have become embedded within a sizable faction of, people after the scamdemic. Trump's comments about drug makers posted in policy proposals and videos on his website have largely flown under the radar as his campaign speeches have doubled down on extreme rhetoric, like his use of anti-immigrant language and praise of foreign authoritarians over the weekend. Okay. Praise of foreign authoritarians. Can't you just say the new Argentinian president? Sheesh. So biased. Wow. One of the Agenda 47 proposals on Trump's campaign website, addressing rise of chronic childhood illnesses, cites an unexplained and alarming growth in the prevalence of chronic illnesses and health problems, especially in children. Trump, in a June video that was also posted to Truth Social, questions whether the food we eat, environmental toxins, or the overprescription of certain medications is contributing to this increase. Too often, our public health establishment is too close to Big Pharma. They make a lot of money, Big Pharma, big corporations, and other special interests, and does not want to ask the tough questions about what is happening to our children's health, Trump said in the video. If Big Pharma defrauds American patients and taxpayers or puts profits above people, they must be investigated and held accountable, he said. Trump goes on to call for a special presidential commission of independent minds who are not bought and paid for by Big Pharma to investigate the rise in chronic illness. On the surface it sounds good. But keep in mind, this is Captain Warp Speed we're talking about here. So, a special presidential commission sounds like they're just going to incorporate Big Pharma into the government, instead of having private, corrupt pharmaceutical companies. We're going to end up with a corrupt pharmaceutical um, what's the word? Agency of the government. You're going to get your drugs from the government. That's what it is. The intrigue. Trump's language around childhood illness is reminiscent of Robert F. Kennedy, a prominent vaccine truth researcher who's running for president as an independent and has been praised by Trump as a common sense guy. In a video on his website, Kennedy promises to end the chronic disease epidemic in this country. If only. Kennedy's promoted the theory that vaccine cause autism. Though he doesn't directly make the claim, obviously, he can't. But he previously tied the children's health crisis to environmental toxins and vaccines in an e-book published by the Children's Health Defense, which he founded. Kennedy's pleased that Trump is highlighting the rise in childhood disease, and Trump's attention to the issue testifies to the success of Children's Health Defense and many other activist organizations in putting the chronic disease epidemic on the political radar. The rate of conditions including disabilities, mental health diagnosis, ADHD diagnosis, and obesity have gone up among children in recent years. There are numerous and complex health, societal, and environmental factors that underlie these numbers. Increased awareness and better ability to diagnose some conditions are believed to be contributing factors. It's just that this it's just that this language is too general, and it's like passing the buck. Increased awareness and better ability to diagnose. It's like that doesn't fix anything, first of all. And it's like, oh, somebody wants you to do something. They're like, oh yeah, listen, I want to go to get something, and I was wondering if you could maybe help me carry it. And you're like, oh yeah, hold on, let me check. I'll get back to you on that. You know? Let me get back to you on that. Okay, and they're like, oh, but I need to know, I need to know so I can plan it. And you're like, oh, I just gotta check, my thing, I gotta check, I gotta check with my wife, or, I gotta check my schedule. So, I can't commit to it right now, but I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And you don't hear back. Trump's conspiratorial language is unhelpful, said Peter Hotez, who said that the anti-vaccine movement in recent years has tied vaccines to a range of chronic diseases. Now that the far right has adopted the anti-vaccine movement, it's very conspiracy laden. The anti-vaccine movement, talking about chronic illness now being voiced by Trump, is hard to combat, he said. It gives them a license to bring up any condition they want, whether it's asthma, peanut, or lupus. They just use it as a catch-all. The Trump campaign did not respond to a request for further explanation. A spokesperson for the main drug maker lobby did not address it. Political rhetoric surrounding healthcare will only continue to rise as we enter an election year. Candidates should focus on voters' top priorities, lowering out-of-pocket costs, and holding insurances and their managers accountable. So basically, the candidates should focus on getting more drugs to the people. Well, is that so? I can't anymore. I just can't anymore. I don't have it in me. How many more fucking stories I gotta go through here? 5? Oh God. Why? Lab-grown meats, dirty secrets, no oversight, rampant bacteria. Dang, lab-grown meat. It's on 11 already? Let me end, guys. Anybody still here? Would you mind? Lab-grown meat. Age is the great equalizer and humbles us all, says Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as he reflects on hip replacement surgery. Oh, okay. See, part of my theory, my conspiracy is that they're teaching me, whoever's sending me these stories is teaching me lessons. Okay, Rick. Thanks, bro. He's teaching me a lesson, or she's teaching me a lesson, or whoever's trying to teach me a lesson. He had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he did yoga. He never was injured. Ever, because of yoga. He never was injured in basketball. He shared a humorous and positive update on his health after undergoing hip replacement surgery. Oh my God. You may have heard that Humpty Kareem had a great fall. It's true, he wrote. I was at the Manhattan Transfer, ready to read it. I fell. Oh man. I fell and was carted off to UCLA Hospital with a broken hip. I'd like to say I fell while trying to sing, but I just tripped. It's hard for me to accept that a once world-class athlete just stumbled. But age is the great equalizer and humbles us all. Now I'm a world-class patient in a bed convalescing from a hip replacement like 450,000 other Americans every year. The 76-year-old Abdul-Jabbar who was hospitalized Friday after breaking the hip, wrote that he will take around a week off over the holidays to recuperate and spend time with family. He also posted a photo of himself smiling in a hospital bed wrapped in a Los Angeles Dodgers blanket. Directing his words, he said, "All my best to you from my hospital bed. Me and my new hip will be dancing to your tunes again. Well, gently swaying." He had a storied collegiate career with the UCLA Bruins, winning 3 national championships under legendary coach John Wooden. The center began his NBA career in 1969 with the Milwaukee Bucks, winning the franchise's first title in the 70-71 season. But he's best remembered as a critical player with the Los Angeles Lakers during the dominant Showtime era in the 1980s. He led Los Angeles to 5 NBA championships. I would say he's best remembered as the final fighter in Bruce Lee's Game of Death. The 7'2" tall, goggles-wearing center Abdul-Jabbar held the NBA all-time scoring record until being surpassed by LeBron James in February. Wow. Abdul-Jabbar, 6-time NBA MVP, had held the record for 39 years. A social activist and writer revealed in 2020 that he had prostate cancer. Oh man. Okay, so yoga's not going to save you from prostate cancer. You got to do cleansing and clean out the colon, clean out the liver, and clean out the intestine, including the colon. He was diagnosed the previous year with chronic myeloid leukemia, cancer of the blood. Yeah, that's 100%. Damn, I don't know if I could say this. Let's just say that the liver is the organ that cleans the blood. And it cleans it of mold too. The liver is supposed to be able to clean mold out. Just imagine what baking soda does to mold. And the liver is supposed to produce alkaline salts like that. I'm sorry, Kareem. You know, I know yogis that eat dairy. The wicked problem that sickens 48 million Americans. Okay, without reading this, I'm going to say it's mold in the home. It may seem as though foodborne disease outbreaks in the U.S. never stop sometimes, and there's no food left untouched by outbreaks. Multi-state foodborne disease outbreaks investigated by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control alone involves food. I can't. Salmonella is big this year, huh? Alright, I think I'm done. I'm not going to read it. As soon as I see Axios in the title, I'm not reading it anymore. If you're watching, don't send me any Axios anymore. Air Force veteran Nick Cupper, who fought the DoD vaccine mandate, running for Arizona office. Alright. Air Force veteran fought the vaccine mandate. You got my vote, bro. Air Force Master Sergeant became a leader. Nick Cupper became a leader for troops fighting President Joe Biden's military vaccine mandate behind the scenes when he refused to take the COVID-19 vaccine due to religious reasons. Wow. Look at this good man here. This is what I should have been with my wife and sons. God bless you, sir. Let's read about him. He deserves it. That experience has galvanized Cupper, who's now retired, to run for office in Arizona's 25th legislative district for an open seat in 2024. The majority of our lawmakers have not only failed us, those in the military, but they failed the entire country and they failed themselves. he told Breitbart News in a recent exclusive interview. One of the things I noticed is honestly just how spineless so many of our supposed leaders are, and we don't need spineless people leading this country, he said. We now have a lot of weak people running it. There's the saying, hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. That's what's going on right now. We have a lot of weak people who are creating a lot of problems for the entire country to the point where they literally could tear the whole thing down, he added. Cupper, 38, a husband and father of 4, was just a couple of years from retirement from the military when Biden ordered that every service member take the vaccine or be kicked out of the military. On the line were his retirement pay and his family's medical benefits, the latter of which was particularly important for his child with special needs, whom he and his wife adopted from Armenia. Cupper told Breitbart News he had filed for religious accommodation from the vaccine, but was told by commanders he would be discharged anyway. He joined a lawsuit against the Department of Defense after his religious accommodation request was denied and he faced discharge. He spoke out about his case on the Tucker Carlson Tonight, which the Air Force reprimanded him for. He was on the verge of being kicked out when a court injunction stopped further discharges. It was definitely not an easy thing. If I hadn't had God and my strong family support, I don't know how I would have made it through it, he said. The pressure they put on people is the kind of thing that causes people to kill themselves. My biggest concern was my daughter. She had nothing in Armenia and I wanted to give her everything. But in the end, what I was able to demonstrate to myself and my family was that no matter what, I was going to stand up for what was right, even if it meant I lost everything. I don't think many people in this life get the chance to truly see how strong their convictions really are. A lot of people have strong convictions, but how often are you truly tested to that level, he said. Cupper said he speaks to people every day whom the mandate has harmed. One was a young airman who was kicked out but now owes his enlistment bonus back. They took his entire final paycheck and then they told him you still owe more money. He said, well, I have no job. You just fired me. I have no money. You just took my entire final paycheck. And they said, don't worry, we'll just send you to collections. So now he goes to collections. It's an insult to injury. Even after he pays it off, it's going to be sitting on his record for 7 years. So the military is just kicking this guy when he's down. It's almost as if they're asking him to try to kill himself. And so it's stories like that I hear. Cupper also said he talks to senior service members who took a stand and were kicked out before the injunction came down. Now they've lost their entire retirement. They might live 40 years after retiring. They've just lost at least $1.5 million in retirement, not even counting any other medical benefits and everything. Young. But Cupper does not just take issue with the way national leaders handled the pandemic. He also wants to secure the U.S.-Mexico border, an issue that directly affects his border state of Arizona. My district is just a few miles from the border, he said. Yuma County now has spent Why are there so many hip replacements? I would say I've been talking about my leaky gut, right? Now, I'm a person. I have the same organs that everybody else does. So, if I have it, everybody has it. Just like everybody has a liver. And just like everybody has bile occlusion, which is also known as gallstones. So, The liver not functioning properly is causing the food to remain too long in the intestine. It's breaking down into bacteria, mold, fungus, and yeast. That stuff is sitting there, and it's coming across from the left side to the right side, rotting. The acidity of the food is demineralizing the tissue by chemically. Imagine a color wheel or a gradient going from white to pink to red to brown to black. Okay, see that in your mind. White to pink to red to brown to black. And this is degrees of demineralization. Okay, so you have the healthy tissue. I'm not saying it's white, but just as a metaphor, right? You have the healthy tissue and it starts to get demineralized, or it starts to get burned. We're talking about the acidity of the food, of the feces, right? Starts to burn the tissue. It starts to demineralize the tissue over the years. It just strips away its integrity. And you get cracks. It dries out in cracks. And that's leaky gut. Happens to a bunch of different places in the gut. But the left side is the sigmoid colon, the corner of the colon. It can cause prostatitis. It can cause diverticulitis. We're talking about the hips. So where does the minerals come from? You have a condition there that it's just never ending. The body's trying to use its mineral reserves to put out the chemical fire. The chemical fire of the acidity, the acidic condition, and the mineral reserves of the hip is the bone becoming more porous, fragile, losing its integrity. So it is an age thing. It is an American thing. As we saw, Kareem had other health conditions, but they're all connected. It's called the 10,000-headed monster, which is bile occlusion. All right, let me go. 5 minutes. It's end at 11:30. I don't know if I could do this anymore, Rick. Maybe I'll record the news and then premiere it at midnight or something, so I can go to bed at 10. It's a long story. All right. Let me do this for Nick. My district, Yuma County has now spent $80,000 already putting porta potties at the border because the illegal immigrants are coming in and urinating and defecating in the farm fields, and they already cost the local farmers $500,000 in crops last year alone. Yuma is America's winter salad bowl. It's like 80 or 90% of all our leafy greens in the winter come from Yuma in the U.S. and Canada. He said that migrants are often sold lies, believing they can come to the U.S. illegally and make a living. The Democrats like to pretend to be the party of compassion. They're not compassionate. They're harming people. Every single one of these lives is harmed by allowing them in here. He He said abortion was another critical issue and he'd work to find alternative solutions. In Arizona alone, 2021, 15% of pregnancies ended in abortion. That's a pretty big number. It's huge. I think life is precious no matter what, but no one ever really talks about why women feel the need to do this. Where have we been as a society? That's changed. Because it wasn't always like this, and we should be taking better care of women and not just their unborn children. We need to do both. He also wants to restore Arizona to the economic prosperity the U.S. had under former President Trump. During Trump's administration, it was pretty darn good. I think all of us were doing pretty well. And for whatever faults people say Trump has, he was good with the economy. And I wish we had that economy back. But overall, he said the way the government handled 2020 was a major factor to run. Watching the riots and watching people just let the country be torn down physically and burnt, and all this race wars and everything else, all of that set me on this path for sure, he said. And then I saw our last bastion of hope, a wing of our government that's supposed to be apolitical, the military, going so hard on these mandates. He said, all of that led me to say, hey, there's got to be better than this. And if I'm not seeing better people to step up, then I need to be that person to step up. Okay, another lesson I'm being taught. Thank you for sending me that. I'm supposed to step up. I'm gonna have to get my health back. So let me take a break. If I don't come on tomorrow, you know why. But you know where to find me, okay? You can call or text me anytime, or hit me up on social. Thanks for being here. Have a great night.